Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Daytona International Speedway. Once again, we're at the World Center of Racing for the Summer Spectacular on the High Banks. It's the Pepsi 400, race 11 of 24, right here from South Central Florida. We're glad you're with us here on ABN1 for coverage of the Winstel Cup Series from Daytona all the way through Homestead at the end of the season. 24 races. We are 6 away from determining the 10 drivers going after the chase for the Winstel Cup. For everyone tuning in tonight, we appreciate you tuning in and joining us here on ABN1. I'm Carmen. Sienna. Today we would have George Cortez with us, but he is away on assignment this evening. We have to see him again tomorrow night for the HL Cup Series when they head to Indianapolis. But a lot of work going into this race, and that includes qualifying going on. Everything running ahead of schedule, racing against the rain, trying to make sure we get ahead of everything here tonight. Everyone's running pretty well according to schedule otherwise. Qualifying is underway, so let's go ahead and jump into it here. One of the cars coming out on track just now is the number 1 machine, Jonathan Hernandez, behind the wheel in that whiteout number 1 machine. Alex Chilcutt on his only flying lap just set provisional pole time. Could be all for nothing, but the track position and the pit lane position is very helpful for Alex Chilcutt. He's got a 1-lap penalty to start off this race following the events that took place 2 weeks ago at Sonoma. And Howe on track as well. Running on track for qualifying. See what lap time she can set. She's on her lap now. 5th in points, entering the night. We'll talk about the points in just a moment after qualifying, as everything gets ready to go. '15 car. So renowned for success here at Daytona International Speedway. Emily Howe, her lap time is good enough for 4th fastest. Christian Budd, currently provisional pole, ahead of Tyler Head and Dylan Roberts at the moment as everything runs right now. We'll pivot our focus to the 16, Leandro Moreira, the Brazilian, 1 of 2 in the field alongside the Daytona 500 race winner, Gabriel Mauricio. Mauricio is not yet qualified. Moreira is on his lap now. As you can tell, the time is ticking away. If you're not on track now, you will not get a lap time in. A lot of drivers accepting their fate, and we'll start from the rear of the field, including potential chase runner, Christina Ryan, who did not turn a lap in practice or will turn a lap in qualifying here. Moreira goes 15th fastest, one of his better qualifying performances so far this season. Brandon McKissick halfway through his lap. He will be able to complete it. He's got a race win already this season, but it's only top 5, and 1/2 of his top 10's there, running a part-time schedule. He is currently not in the top 10 in points, and he's got a tall mountain to climb in 6 races to get there. He's going to come across start-finish line here. Let's see what lap time he's able to set. His lap time will be enough for only 23rd. With less than 15 seconds to go, that's going to set the grid up pretty well and nice as we get everything underway here. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the end of qualifying here. Pretty easy to kind of discuss things as we get ready to go. The standings entering this race, they are a little bit tighter at the top of the board. Christian Budd leads by 10 over Gabriel Mauricio. Dylan Robertson 3rd. Jose Solis Jr. sits in the top 4. A lot of race wins in that top 4. Emily Howe, winless still through the first 10 races. She won the Winstel 400 in January at this very track. Can she break the winless drought here again? We'll find out. She's top 5 in the points. Sean Palake 6th, Thomas Lewandowski 7th, Parker Alexander Nick Doucette, and Mike Rasmus, your current top 10. And that's very important because the cut line is not far away. Chris Champeau, less than 50 points out. 180 points goes to a race winner. So a huge swing can happen at any time here in the Winstel Cup season. Brendan McGee just outside that cut line as well. Tyler Head, Christina Ryan, TJ Crampton, your top 15. Jonathan Hernandez, Evan Locke, Aaron Smith, your top 18. Looking further into tonight's event. But then you look at the cut line, and this is going to be an interesting conversation because you see some new drivers coming, some drivers kind of stepping away. The cut line's interesting. Ali Osman is right now right above that cut line by 4 points over Matt Sisler, who joined in late to join the 91 team for Ray Everhand Motorsports. Larry Pace, who's been part of most of the season, he's in 37th. Michael O'Brien, who is, I don't believe, any longer in the 97 machine, will continue to drop backwards here. Jared Bales, Olivia Hayward, who's taking last place points in this event. Hayden Repas, Rory Collins, and Ken Huff keeping it pretty close in that conversation. Top 35 are locked in for the first 4 races of next season. With those 2003 Super Speedway bodies in play, it could be a very interesting start of next season indeed. Everyone's goal, top 35 or top 10. As long as you're somewhere in one of those two groups, you're pretty well set in stone. But now it's time to look at the starting grid. And this is going to be a very interesting starting grid here as everything gets ready to go. Christian Budd and Tyler Head, they will take the front of the field for the Pepsi 400. Obviously, both of them race winners already this season. Tyler Head, the defending series champion. Christian Budd trying to put his stamp and get a championship in 2004. Dylan Roberts and Emily Howe, teammates for DEI, sitting in row number 2 with Sean Palig and Evan Locke in row 3. For Locke, one of his best qualifying performances. Can it turn into a race performance? His chase life later this season depends on it. Ray Everhand Motorsports, we talked about one of their drivers. Row 4's got the other 2, Brendan McGee and Philip Snipes, their best qualifying performances this season, alongside Jonathan Hernandez and Anthony Krobach, who round out the top 10 in this race. That's how the top 10 starts. Looking further on down the order, Alex Chilcutt qualified this race in 11th. Remember, he will be sitting in pit lane. He will have a 1-lap penalty to start this race. Got to be a long road travel for the 60 car, but he's got a decent pit lane selection. That's going to be very important. If this race has a long green flag run, green flag pit stops could be a factor. He was going to start alongside Nick Doucette in row 6. Row 7, Ali Osman, we talked about him being just inside the top 35. He needs to stay there. Good qualifying, but it needs to convert into a race result too. He's alongside Kyle Benson in row 7. Leandro Moreira, one of his best qualifying performances, top 15 for him, alongside Alex Bates. Steve Brown, his first plate race appearance in the Winstel Cup Series, alongside Craig Lautenschlager, Parker Alexander, and Larry Pace round out the top 20. Looking a little bit further down the order here, Corey Cook and Mo Perry make up row 11, 21st and 22nd on the grid. Brandon McKissick, part-time driver, saw him qualify. He's 23rd alongside Tyler Murray. Chris Champeau and Andy Reeves. Andy Reeves taking over the 97 from Michael O'Brien. They're in row 13. Matt Taylor and Jose Solis Jr. not where they wanted to be in qualifying, sitting row 14. Row 15 is Gabriel Mauricio and Christina Ryan. They're in the top 30, but neither of them set lap times. And you look at all the drivers that also did not set lap times further down the order. Matt Sisler, Nathan Paliwota, all did not set lap times. Olivia Hayward will not take the start of this race. Will take last place points. Will drop all the way down the order here to the 37th position is what's going to be scored here. Ken Huff, Osgnar, Corey Steinhauser, and Hayden Repas will be the rest of the grid here. Gonna be a lot of fun following along with this race. 45 laps, 15 laps shorter than we saw at the season opener for the 500. Still looking at a pretty easy 2-stop race with the fuel mileage. A caution can make it easier 1 stop. The objective is to try to make it to about 22 laps. If you can try to get any fuel mileage out of it, 22 laps is the number you want to hit if you're going to try to get there at the end of the race. But it seems pretty easy on the 2-stop strategy here. Reminder that there is only one green-white checkered attempt. That is the point of no return if we need it. We've only needed it once this season, so it's not a bad ordeal. As we get ready to go through turns 3 and 4 here, under yellow. Again, it's Christian Budd in the 17, Tyler Head in the 4, Dylan Roberts in the 8, Emily Howe in the 15, Sean Palig in the 48. That's your top 5. Evan Locke is in 6. Going to be a very interesting time to see how this race develops. This is going to be a very interesting track. A lot of heat on the track right now. Pace car is in pit lane. Green flag is out, and away we go. The Pepsi 400 is green. And the sound of over 35 cars roars into turn 1 here at Daytona. Down the backstretch into turn 3. Tyler Head gets the advantage down the back straightaway. Trouble. Huge trouble. McKissick's involved. Looks like there's other cars involved in this as well. Looks like the 89's got a piece of it as well. Looks like one of the darker colored cars got turned onto the apron in 3 and 4. So the first caution comes out to end lap 1. Looks like Gabriel Mauricio got a piece of it as well. Let's take a look here and see what happened. Looks like it's all well ahead. See if we can get a look at who's ahead of this. Oh, is that the 5? It's the 5 of Parker Alexander, where this all kind of begins. Wow. He saves it, but everyone scrambles because of it. Take one more look here, and we'll do it in slow motion. Bad bump there. That's Corey Cook, just behind the 5. McKissick gets checked up and gets bumped into there. I believe that's by Chris Champeau. It would be. And everyone scrambles and scatters. I think everyone does largely a fantastic job to avoid this from getting any worse. And you saw there just outside the screen, Olivier Hayward in that 36 car actually taking the start here. The idea was that the 36 would take last place points and just kind of move on to next week's race at Chicagoland. But with only 37 cars, 36 has some points to really kind of go for here. So we're going to see that. So it's Tyler Head over Christian Budd and Emily Howe, your top 3. For those unfamiliar with the Winstel Cup Series regulations, it's a single file restart. If there are any lap cars, like with Alex Chilcutt, they will be on the inside lane. All the lap down cars will not be ordered or in any fashion other than they're going to be a lap down on the inside lane. If you have to serve an EOL, your EOL is served at the end of the longest line, whether it's the line with the lap down cars or the line with the lead lap cars. Pretty sensible to understand there. Lights on the Mustang GT pace car remain on as everyone collects themselves here. And I believe with Alex Chilcutt serving his penalty at the start of this race. He does get to get back on the lead lap, the number 60 machine. Gets to go back at it here. And Joka, technically, by way of just having to catch up to the pace car, has the fastest lap of the race, a 51.37. But it looks like the 60 will come down pit lane and top off the fuel. Very important, because this stop could get you to the halfway point and set you up for an interesting strategy call later on in this race. I'll take you, show you through where everyone's at so far. Tyler Head, Christian Budd, Emily Howe, your top three over Dylan Roberts and Sean Peleg. A lot of USA themed cars. Pepsi 400 weekend almost always fell on Independence Day weekend. Right now, this is the first Winstel race back since Memorial Day. So everyone catching up and doing some Memorial Day coverage as well here in the Winstel Cup Series. Anthony Krobach, Brennan McGee, Nick Doucette, Jonathan Hernandez, and Kyle Benson, your top 10 at the moment. Further on down the order, Ali Osman still holding on to the top 15 ahead of Alex Bates, Leandro Morera, Craig Lautenschlager, and Larry Pace. 43 of Steve Brown, running an anniversary scheme for the 43. He sits ahead of Mo Perry, Tyler Murray, the debutante, and Andy Reeves, and Matt Taylor in your top 20. A lot of cars further down the order still trying to make their way forward. Mauricio, Ryan, Solis, Champeau, Alexander. As we browse and peruse, there's 37 cars here. Philip Snipes down at the very back of the field now. It's about to be showtime once again. Pace car is in. The green flag is back out and away we go. 37 cars, single file all the way through. Everyone's still running. Let's give it a show. And immediately, everyone tried to abandon the 4 car by moving to the inside lane. Some help coming down the outside lane. No, that's the 11 of Krobach and Doucette, the 24. But they're going to go to the outside lane. Now Tyler Head in the 4s in the sucker hole. A siphon that just pulls your car straight to the back of the field, and now Krobach's on the outside lane with no help. Everyone jockeying around for positions early on. But we will complete this lap at pace, under green. Keep an eye on that 24, the Pepsi Million machine. But that silver front end. Nick Doucette has had a nose for the front of the field the last several races here in the Winstel Cup Series. He just hasn't been able to seal the deal. Can that change here at Daytona? A lot of drivers looking for a Daytona miracle. See Doucette, 1 win already. Took forever to get to that point. It's hard winning more than once in this competition, but that's where he's at, top 5 at the moment. But it's Emily Howe leading the way. Pole position came 3 weeks ago at Sonoma. First pole of the season. Not a bad track record. 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and 10 starts. She's not missed a race yet. With help from Tyler Head, she's leading laps right now here in Daytona. Christian Budd on the inside lane, leading in the 17. And it's DEI cars really charging both lanes. Howell leads the outside, Dylan Roberts in the 8. Supporting the inside lane, and Christian Budd's going to use that support to go to the front of the field. Caution's out. And it looks like it is down the field here, and it could be not Matt Sisler. Looks like the 89's got some problems. And it looks like this really could have been started around Brandon McKissick. Not sure what happened here, but we'll take a look. So this is a look at the replay. This is, oh no, that is the 60 of Chilcutt. If you remember, did not get to start the race with everybody else. Everyone moving around. Oh, this is well ahead. You see the smoke already. There's Corey Cook with trouble. But that's because Leandro Moreira had already started spinning. And everyone's just trying to get around. Ooh, huge hit by Chilcutt. Huge junk up there out of turn 4. Ken Huff's not going to get so lucky, is he? A little bit of contact there for 31. Now, what got Moreira spun around here? He's had a very rough time of it. Had a good qualifying session. Does he just clip the yellow line? Looking here, Jose Close Jr. see on the outside lane, the number 29 machine. Oh, Moreira just loses it completely on his own. Absolutely no one touching him. He just loses in the inside lane. Talked about how skatey, how slidey this car is with all the heat on the track. Moreira does a good job avoiding just turning right back into the field, but just keeps trying to chase it. Grabs his fellow countryman in Mauricio. Grabs the debutant Andy Reeves. And just gets clobbered in real time there by Chilcutt. And that will affect several races. And unfortunately for Moreira, his race is over. McKissick got away with most of it, though. One of the summer drivers that got away with it despite being so far back. As we jump forward. So now it's Larry Pace at the front of the field. Everyone that was on track here for the most part has come down pit lane for the first time. This was a really good opportunity to top off with fuel. Philip Snipes came in on lap 3. Larry Pace is still not pit at all. And again, it's very interesting. Phil Snipes has some fuel. Larry Pace running the lowest amount. Everyone else now firmly on the one-stop strategy from here. I think that is something that has been pretty well rounded out and isolated here, is that he is good to go. Larry Pace leading some laps, grabbing some bonus points, and there's some very hefty bonus points here. 5 points for pole, 5 points for leading a lap, 5 for leading the most laps. And for Larry Pace, someone who right now is outside the top 35, every point counts right now for the 98 machine, who has been in this position before. Call back to Martinsville, where he was leading with less than 10 laps to go, and it all went south in a hurry in traditional Martinsville fashion. Is he going to have a lot of help? Probably not. But he's accumulating those points, keeping that car, the 98, at the front of the queue. And playing the contrarian. Keep an eye on the 19 and the 9. They could work together. That is McGee in the 9 and Philip Snipes in the 19. A lot of ABN fans would remember Philip Snipes, multiple-time race winner in the ABN Cup Series, alongside Emily Howe, who's also in the top 10. Those two really kind of spearheading partnership we have now between ABN and Winstel. With those two drivers building the bridge. Philip Snipes, though, has not had a season to remember so far. Larry Pace, you see him, 6 starts. Unfortunately, he's got no memorable stats there. Philip Snipes not doing much better. He's done 9 starts and is only 24th right now in points. It's been a struggle so far for those top two. Running right now. This is a photograph moment for both of them. Pace car is in. Green flag is back out. Away we go. Two cars already out of the race, and it's both Brazilians, Mauricio and Moreira, are out of this race. Chilcutt undergoing repairs, trying to get that 60 car back out and running. The other 34 cars, they're still in it. And Philip Snipes drops below the yellow line. He's going to let this lead group go by because he's got some fuel saving to do, and you can't do that second in line. Christian Budd stuck on the outside lane, 3 wide. Whole group's together, keeping on the 00. Christina Ryan, she's made her way into the top 10. Along with Anthony Krobach. That looked like there was somebody in the sand or in the grass in the infield, but there wasn't. Just looked like a little bit of a visual or optical illusion there. Everyone's still running. Philip Snipes still falling backwards here. Not happy with where he's at right now. Again, full fuel save mode for Philip Snipes because you're trying to do what everyone else is doing without coming down a second time. Put that on the order, bit of separation. This is where some of the drivers have had issues already. Corey Cook, Parker Alexander, Brandon McKissick. At the very tail end of this draft. There's Olivia Hayward up in 25th as well, up 8 spots from where she started this race. Biggest gainer so far, who else? Jose Solis Jr. But now he's in the thick of it. They are 3 wide in 2 rows. Trouble for, that is the 18 of Champeau, who is very skittish right now out of 2. On the back straightaway, able to stabilize that car out. Losing spots though. First to Ryan, now to Krobach, his teammate, and Kyle Benson potentially. They are 3 by 3 at the front of the field. Larry Pace knows that he's playing contrarian, knows he's got a 2-stop race still ahead of him. Will not lead the lap. Emily Howe will. Brendan McGee and Nick Doucette in the middle. Tyler Head in the 4 on the bottom behind Pace. So is Jose Solis Jr. at the 49. Christian Budd, who was alone on the outside lane, held the fort strong enough for the DEI teammates to get ahead of him and lead a lap. Trouble, caution behind. Oh, huge trouble. Kenhoff again, this time in front of Brandon McKissick, who was still rolling up the track. Hayden Repus, the 89, looks like he's got a decent amount of damage. That car is pretty well skewed. Mo Perry looks like he gets away with it. Steve Brown in the anniversary car for Richard Petty Motorsports. He gets around. Andy Reeves, insult to injury for the 97 car. And Sissel looks to be okay. He went through the grass. And it looks like this starts really early. This starts, I think that's with Ali Osman in the 30 up in the wall right now. I believe that's the 30 car of Osman. Let's go ahead and slow it down for just a moment. Ali Osman, Diz bounces off the wall. Perry bounces off of Alexander though. And Mo tries to save it. Gets hit by Steve Brown. who clobbers McKissick. Corey Cook lifts up Steve Brown. There's Matt Taylor involved. Olivia Hayward gets through there again. Philip Snipes, who was dropping back, now has to go and take avoiding action here. And McKissick, he's already trying to save the car from just nosing into the wall again. You see where Hayden Repus and Andy Reeves get involved. They're further behind. So we'll go on board here with Olivia Hayward. We'll have to rewind this just a little bit. On board the 36 from the windshield. See a car just bouncing in the air. Run to the apron. Avoid all of it. However, not everyone's so lucky, unfortunately. On board with Steve Brown, the 43. Mo tries to do a really good job of saving it, just runs out of real estate on the exit of 2. You see the crumple zones there. You see the impact there by Andy Reeves. This is on board the 89. Coming out of 2. Smoke, smoke, smoke. You see here he's trying to get down out of it. He's trying to shift down. Running that back there by Andy Reeves. We'll go back to where this all started with Mo Perry. Just bounces and gets loose a little bit. Try saving it. Overall, if it hadn't been for the contact with the 43, probably would have saved it. He had it pretty well taken control of. Just a little bit of a lift there by the 43 out of the corner. And several cars are junked. So now, once again, positions change hands. It's Brennan McGee at the front of the field, ahead of Inley Howe and Nick Doucette. Tyler Head and Dylan Roberts round out the top 5. Then Sean Palig and Christina Ryan kicking off the next part of the top 10 here. Christian Poe, Anthony Krobach, the JGR cars doing a good job there. It's Brandon McKissick avoiding going a lap down. Alex Bates rounds out the top 10. Jonathan Hernandez, Olivia Hayward, top 12. Corey Cook up to 13th. Kyle Benson in 14th. And Christian Budd, after coming down pit lane for a top off of fuel, in 15th. 16th, Larry Pace. Now not so alone on the strategy calls. Sits ahead of Craig Lautenschlager, Jose Solis Jr., Tyler Murray, and Ali Osmond, your top 20. Car we've not talked about much, if at all, is this appearance of the number 94 machine, Nathan Paliwada. One of the debutantes running a 94 car that we've not seen so far this season. The Bojangles 94 on track right now ahead of Osnar. The 04 with a new driver in it. See Parker Alexander and Evan Locke rounding out the top 25. DNS begin to pop up pretty quickly here. Matt Sisler, Corey Steinhauser, Philip Snipes. They're still running. So is Brandon McKissick and Mo Perry and Steve Brown. Reason why it's important, Ken Huff in pit lane. Andy Reeves, his race is over. Alex Chilcutt, his race is over. Actually, excuse me, Alex Chilcutt is on track still. There he is. But then you look at the drivers, Morera and Mauricio, they are out. So 4 cars out of this race, 33 still running. As the pace car comes down, Brennan McGee leads us to the green flag. Racing back underway. It's a hot track, hot temperatures, and the tempers are heating up as well. As we head down into turn 1, Brendan McGee going to have some support. Have to look all the way back to Dylan Roberts and Chris Champeau. Alex Bates on the inside lane as well. As they all travel down the back straightaway towards turn 3. Here comes Nick Doucette in the Pepsi Million. How sweet it would be if a Pepsi car could win the Pepsi 400. It's not been a great night for the Coca-Cola cars that have been running in the field. One of them already out. 2 others remain in the field, and they're not near the top 10 at the moment. McGee, though, leads that lap, led lap 18. How much more can he lead as they come through turns 1 and 2? Side by side, car spinning. Further down the order, I believe that's Tyler Murray, it is. A single car, he kept it away from the track. So we stay green, but not where he wanted to be there. Still side by side at the front of the field. McGee almost clear of Doucette thanks to Emily Howe. Tyler Head, third in line on the outside lane, the defending series champion. Sort of just forced to play stationary as Sean Peleg and Christina Ryan. Peleg in the 48, Ryan in the 00. Ryan is level with Alex Bates in the 25. Jose Solis Jr. puts himself in the middle, 3 wide to get around Kyle Benson and follow Ali Osman through. As Doucette goes to the bottom of the racetrack to try to find a little bit more speed. The momentum on the outside lane still too strong. Brendan McGee continues to lead laps, going after the most laps led bonus points as well. Again, for McGee, who's just outside the top 10, every point counts at this point in time, and especially in a race where anything can happen. Car in the wall. That was the 38 of Benson trying to go side by side, 3 wide. I believe that was with Olivia Hayward on the inside lane and the 11 of Krobach in the middle. Props to Olivia Hayward. I wasn't sure how much she would want to have to put her hands into this early on in the race. We're not even halfway yet. We're still a couple laps from halfway. She is 100%. She is in it so far as Corey Cook's in the wall. The 0 car will drop back big time. Saved it. We stay green. Fast lap will still belongs to Parker Alexander as we have a slightly detached satellite group. Whoa! Oh, here we go! That's huge! That was Leidenslagger, Hayward, and Alexander, and Matt Taylor. And now is Leidenslagger turning down across to Hayward. Hayward hooking Alexander, and all 4 of them, with Matt Taylor in the middle, end up in the outside wall. And we wondered how much Olivia Hayward would be sort of hands-on in this. She's pretty well aware of how this racing is. She's made her opinions quite prevalent as far as how much she doesn't like this form of racing. But she was getting in there and was putting herself in that mix. And it seemed like it was going okay. And Alexander, I believe, with a blown engine, blowing the speed limit. But I do have to believe that his car may be terminally out of this race. And that's a bummer, because those are cars that were really quick, sitting in the mid-pack. They didn't really have anywhere to go. And that's just depressing. Car that ended up having to tow was Parker Alexander, because he did blow his engine completely. So let's go back and look at it. The depressing fact of the matter. And we're going to have to slow down here a little bit. Looks like Olivia Hayward may have jumped up just a little bit here. Let's look at the chopper cam with my above for the first time tonight. We have crossed the halfway point. Olivia Hayward. You see Larry Pace in the 98 getting ahead and clear. Ooh, that's two cars going for the same piece of real estate. Lautenschlager was coming down as Hayward was drifting up to give Alexander space. And eventually all that space is gone. Matt Taylor, 32, nothing he can do there. He's kind of just stuck in it. Hayward bounces right off the apron, and that's not the angle you want to see. Unfortunately, Lautenschlager's car was there to buffer it. Still not the angle you want to see a car hit the wall at, especially here at Daytona. But this will make things a little bit more interesting as see if we can go on board with the 32 of Matt Taylor, because he's going to have an unfortunate ride. And you already see there's one of those, the other second Coca-Cola car with Lautenschlager having a rough time. This is on board with him. Just completely kills front of that car. And let's ride on board here with Craig Lautenschlager here. See Olivia Hayward to the inside lane. Lautenschlager knows Olivia's there. Just turns down a little bit too much and pays for it. Car goes up and over about 90 degrees. And we'll take one more look at Olivia Hayward, who unfortunately in the middle of a bad sandwich. Sitting middle 3 wide, Larry Pace to the left, Lautenschlager to the right behind. Yeah, Lautenschlager, from that angle it looks pretty clear that Lautenschlager kind of just moves down a little bit more than he needed to. Again, we saw from the overhead, Olivia Hayward tried giving Alexander some space. Lautenschlager was trying to avoid getting too close to the wall, was not comfortable running the outside lane to where he was. It's unfortunate. And I believe Alexander's race is over. It is. So we have more people in the retirement queue as we sit under caution once more over the halfway point. Jose Solis Jr. leads the way over Larry Pace, Brennan McGee, Emily Howe, and Dylan Roberts. Browse and peruse through the field that's remaining. You see Christian Budd still back in the top 10. Some drivers that have dropped out of the top 10 momentarily. Nick Doucette, Christina Ryan. Ali Osman there in 16th place. You see Nathan Paliwoda in the 94 Dodge. Sitting in 19th, or sitting at 18th right now ahead of the 04 of Oz Nar. Matt Sisler, he's had a couple of really close misses. He's had to go to the grass a couple times. He's sitting 21st. And Evan Locke, there's Philip Snipes there in 23rd. Brandon McKissick, Mo Perry. You start seeing more and more of the DNFs begin to make themselves apparent. 30 cars on lead lap. Ken Huff in 30th, the last car on lead lap here at the moment. Matt Taylor, a lap down. Same with Lautenschlager. Alexander's race is over. Chilcutt, the only car beyond this that's still running, beyond 32nd. So it's Solis, Pace, McGee, top 3. As the Pace car comes down pit lane, green flag flies once again. Away we go. And Pace wastes no time going to the inside of Solis. With where Larry Pace is at right now, a win is everything. But he will have no help. Solis being the Pied Piper for most of the field on this restart. McGee, Hal, and Roberts staying locked in heel to toe with Solis. Krobach. Sorry, not Krobach. That's Champeau in the 18. Champeau in the 18 will make his way on through. But there's Christina Ryan in the 00. Ahead of the other JGR car, the 11 of Krobach. 4 cars on the bottom. Doucette makes it 5. Osmond makes it 6. As they all run around into turn 1 now. The interesting footnote to this, a green flag pit stop still required. If it stays green all the way, place your bets on if we get to that point. There's Chris Champeau taking it to Jose Solis Jr. side by side for the race lead. And then McGee and Pace, who have both led laps in this race here in the Pepsi 400. Now their lines are relying on them. On board, Christina Ryan started this race down P30, sitting right now in the top 5 alongside Emily Howe, third in line on these lines. Only one top 10 so far this season. That came at Charlotte. Another driver needing a really good points result to bona fide their chances at the chase. Here comes Larry Pace to the inside lane. We're watching that 3-wide develop, and that is a pucker factor of 10. If you're Chris Champeau, because we've seen what that does. We just had a caution because of it. And you're seeing Chris Champeau just bouncing back and forth, buffering in the corners, being stuck in that 3-wide situation. It's called the sucker hole for a reason. It's a siphon. It pulls all the momentum off the car. We have another retirement, Olivia Hayward at 36, losing the engine. Larry Pace continues to lead laps. Can the Cinderella story happen here at Daytona? You want to talk about Daytona miracles? It would not be much higher of a miracle than if Larry Pace did something fantastic tonight. Latency for the 30 of Osmond. If it persists, they may give him a warning and tell him to move to the back of the pack. Solis with McGee in tow clears Larry Pace. But keep an eye on those Hendrick duo cars, the 24 and the 25, Doucette and Bates. Solis gets to the inside, and he's coming down pit lane. Solis to the pit lane with 15 laps to go. McGee led that lap, and now Alex Bates in pursuit. See a car coming up there just ahead of them. I believe it's another car that came down pit lane to make themselves good on fuel. I believe it's the 89 car. It is. So he's at right now. 29th start this race, dead last, 37th. And the field's coming with a full head of steam. He's staying below the yellow line. McGee still leads with support from Larry Pace, ahead of Nick Doucette and Chris Champeau. McGee coming to the start-finish line. You see a lot of smoke on pit lane. It has to be something to do with an oil fire of some kind. So a lot of cars not coming down pit lane this time. Trying to give a lot of clearance so they can get that cleaned up. McGee still leads Larry Pace. Teammates for Hendrick Motorsports side by side. Doucette leading the outside lane all alone. No support from Alex Bates, who's trying to get his way to the front of the field. Again, bonus points matter. 5 for leading a lap. A lot of drivers could use those bonus points, and we're running out of laps to do it. Krobach goes from top to bottom, ahead of his teammate Champeau. And the sad part is for Doucette right now, he doesn't have a lot of help. Osmond can't really get to him. Osmond's struggling to find the consistency on the outside lane. Needs a little bit more help from Corey Cook in the 0, who's pulling up. And keep an eye further back in the order. On the outside lane, it's Emily Howell, Sean Peleg, and Jonathan Hernandez. And now that it's 3 cars in the outside lane and 3 cars breaking away on the inside lane, it's a little bit more even of a fight as McGee battles Doucette. Coming to 11 laps to go. Doucette will lead this lap easily. Osmond takes second as Alex Bates jumps the outside lane ahead of Krobach. Christina Ryan on the inside lane will watch as Nick Doucette drops in front of Brendan McGee. So now it's on Ali Osmond, who last time we saw him in this position at a plate track in the Winstel Cup Series, ended up upside down. He's trying to keep that number 30 AOL machine right side up as he battles for his first win in modern Winstel competition. Doucette leads. He led from the bottom, led from the top. He's got help from Brendan McGee. McGee trying to counteract what Corey Cook's doing on the outside lane for Ali Osmond. There's lap cars ahead. McKissick's one of them. And I believe it's McKissick and Solis. It is. It's 29 and 37 ahead. And they've got to navigate that lap traffic together and figure out how much space they're going to be able to give. And this will check up the inside lane almost universally. It allows Osmond a chance to go after the lead of the race. There is the 89 of Hayden Repus, who spins in the infield grass. Doucette locks it up big time. There has to be a couple of speeding penalties in there for Doucette and Larry Pace. I'd be surprised if there's not. Osmond on the outside lane, now on his own with Corey Cook, Jonathan Hernandez, Chris Champeau, Tyler Head. These are drivers that still need to make a pit stop here to make it to the end of the race. And Doucette makes it without a penalty. Somehow, some way, did not get penalized. And it is tight on the pit exit here. As everything continues once more. Everyone's spread out here a little bit. A lot of cars down pit lane this time. That was in the lead group. It gives Evan Locke the race lead with Mo Perry. Right now, Evan Locke started this race top 6. Finally gets the lead a lap here. 8 starts this season. A top 5 and 2 top 10s. Trying to make a count here. Likewise, Mo Perry, not where he wants to be. 9 starts, still has not made an appearance in the top 10 at the end of these races. Would like to start. Gonna go an extra lap here with coming to 7 to go. There's Corey Steinhauser, ahead of Alex Chilcutt. Steve Brown also still out on track at the moment, his third start this season. The Osmond, there's Hernandez, Champeau, Doucette. So this group ended up staying a little bit ahead because they had less traffic on pit lane. They end up being a big benefactor here. But here comes Nick Doucette in number 24 to the outside lane. And cleared Osmond. Osmond goes to the outside. They're 3 wide, though, behind him because there's Kyle Benson alongside Champeau and Hernandez. Mirror driving for the highest order, still with 6 laps to go, coming to 5. Christina Ryan to the inside of the 18 of Champeau. 4th in line on the inside lane. Keep an eye because these cars start moving around a little bit more, like McGee and the 18 of Champeau are right now. 3 by 3. And that's not an overstatement. They are 3 wide by 3 rows. The DEI duo of Hal and Roberts, they've watched one of their teammates go into the fire. Hernandez in the 1, the 3rd DEI car, sitting right in the midst of all of it. They're on the outside lane, hedging their bets. Looks like the outside lanes, both the middle and the outside, seem to be where everyone wants to be at the moment. The inside's the shortest way around, but not always the fastest, as Doucette almost clears both lanes with the help of Champeau. With 5 laps to go. Remember, Evan Locke and Mo Perry have still yet to pit. They are 1-2 at the front of the field, and they are not close. 24 seconds adrift is where Evan Locke and Mo Perry are. Mo Perry and Evan Locke, you want to know where they're at? They're out of turn 1 and 2 almost. They're across our finish line. See, that's the 60 of Chilcutt that came down pit lane. They are rolling with it at the moment. Car in the wall. It is a 17 of Christian Budd. Emily Howell and Dylan Roberts, they checked out of that. They got backwards. They feel like there's a crash coming, and it's hard to blame them when you look at who's in this group and how hard they're pushing with 4 laps to go. Remember, 1 green-white checkered attempt if we need it. It's the point of return. If you're in this group, you don't want to give Mo Perry and Evan Locke a chance at the race win. If they can't make it on field, they can't. They're in pit lane. So Locke and Perry, they could not make it all the way. They're in pit lane for a splash and dash. Here comes a checkup, huge checkup there. Matt Taylor, and everyone goes around. That's Christina Ryan around. And you had to figure there was gonna be a problem. Indeed there was. Matt Taylor had nowhere really to go. They were 3 wide approaching him. And Christina Ryan's the one that got the bullet a little bit harder. We'll go back and we'll take a look at it. Because it's unfortunate how this all sets up. And you see there's a 32 of Matt Taylor who's just he's doing the right thing. In theory, you're holding the inside lane. You're staying stable in that lane. Just unfortunate for Christina Ryan. Had a chance to really go for the top 10. Now wounded. You have to try to scavenge a result here once again. And they play in slow motion here. You see the at 15 and the 8, they backed off because they figured what was going to happen. Not a bad judgment call when you think about Emily Howe and Dylan Roberts there. Ali Osman. Ali Osman's decision here is interesting. The 30 car, keep an eye on him. He's going to dart to the inside lane here. He's going to try the dart to the apron. To me, that's strange. Christina Ryan tries to avoid the oncoming melee and gets turned by Champeau. it's very interesting for Ali Osman. Ali Osman had all the time. He saw the lane that the 32 was in, and that was the decision that was made. Very interesting decision, and we'll have to back it up here, because this is not like they had like a split second to make this decision. Let's right on board with Osman. 32 is right ahead of him. 32 is on the inside line still. 5 seconds. 9 seconds, 10. Makes no effort until he's within a second of the 32 to try to avoid that situation. That's rough. And I get it, if you're Osman, you don't want to give up all of that track position because you're not going to get all of it back if it stays green. But that's a huge risk. And we'll see from Christina's perspective here. We'll back it up just a little bit since it's right on the scene of the crash. Christina Ryan kind of just following. Backs up a little bit, but Osman's still going, so why not? And Osman goes to the inside. Oh, as soon as Osman hits the apron, yeah, I would do the same thing Christina did. You try to find space because you know that they're going to hook up. But unfortunately, when you're 3x3 and you're in a sardine can, there's nowhere you can go. And obviously Christina now in 22nd position after starting 30th. Made all the way back front, and you see the damage still in the Aaron's Dream Machine. Not a great turn of events there. So Christina Ryan gonna have to try to scavenge. Nick Doucette will be at the front of the field. With the lights out, this is the point of no return. This is a green-white checker. So we'll show you where everyone's at right now, because this will be the last time we get to show you this. Nick Doucette, Kyle Benson, Jonathan Hernandez, Brandon McGee, Larry Pace, your top 5. Beyond that, Ali Osman, Chris Champeau, and Tyler Head, your top 8. Evan Locke and Emily Howell round out the top 10. Dylan Roberts, Sean Peleg, Christian Budd, Mo Perry, and Jose Solis Jr., your top 15. This could shuffle significantly in the next couple laps. Top 20 is rounded out by Anthony Krobach, Corey Cook, Alex Bates, Philip Snipes, and Matt Sisler. Nathan Paliwota, Christina Ryan, Oz Kanar, Ken Huff, and Tyler Murray, top 25. And you start seeing some more of the DNFs here. Steve Brown, Brandon McKissick, Corey Steinhauser, Matt Taylor, and Hayden Repas, top 30. And I say DNFs, they're not DNF'd. DNFs are next page. Alex Chilcutt's still running. Not a lot of space for him to go. Craig Lautenschlager, the last car running on track. Hayward, Alexander, Reeves, Morera, and Mauricio. 5 cars out of this race so far. 27 on the lead lap. The pace car will take the left into pit lane. It's on Doucette. And 38 of Kyle Benson. Green flag flies. And the pedal goes to the floor. And you better believe the 27 cars on the lead lap right now, there is no such thing as lifting. Immediately, Benson goes to the bottom, but so does Hernandez. Hernandez swoops to the race lead through turn 1. This is where it can turn into an absolute disaster piece. With less than 5 miles to go. This is the point of no return. Overtime here at Daytona for the Pepsi 400. Hernandez leads Doucette on the outside lane. McGee in third on the outside lane. Kyle Benson in the 38 on his own. Does not have help from Larry Pace. He can't get there. Osman in the 30 shoots to the bottom. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Who makes it back? Larry Pace looks to the inside. Shoots to the inside of Kyle Benson. Hernandez trying to stay up high. They dance out of turns 1 and 2 for the last time. And it's 3 wide at the front of the field. Which lane do you got? Hernandez on the outside with help from Doucette. Benson with help from the defending champion Tyler Head. Side by side still. This will be a drag race out of turn 4. Benson, as they crash behind, loses his help. Head to the bottom. It'll be Jonathan Hernandez, the race winner, ahead of Doucette. And I believe Brendan McGee may have gotten 3rd. They're giving us Tyler Head. We'll wait for official confirmation. Jonathan Hernandez, his first win of the season, the 2nd for DEI. Jonathan Hernandez, a winner in the Winstel Cup Series. He wins at Daytona in a wild overtime attempt. Nick Doucette finishes 2nd, a fantastic result. And I believe it's telling us Tyler Head ended up in 3rd by fractions of a second. But Jonathan Hernandez gets to celebrate, and he will burn it down in Daytona, winner of the Pepsi 400. A wonderful Daytona moment for Jonathan Hernandez. The 1 car is a P1 here in Daytona. Wild, wild, wild race here in Daytona. Hernandez gets to celebrate. But what a wild turn of events here. Hernandez gets to celebrate. We'll talk to Tyler Head here in just a moment. We'll talk to our podium finishers as they arrive. We'll start with P3, though. Tyler Head did a phenomenal job here in Daytona. P3 across the line. Tyler, this was Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I got you, loud and clear.
That was a wild restart. Getting all the way to P3. You got to see just about everybody at some point today in this race. Walk us through it, because that was interesting. Not the race we were expecting, but what a wild show.
Yeah, certainly. And, the way it unfolded with the strategy, it was very interesting. That last run before the caution that set up that point of no return finish, you had some people who were going full board, knowing that they were going to pit again, and some people seeing if they could stretch the fuel a little bit. And ultimately, none of us really could get it all the way there. So that really jumbled some things up and made the racing interesting before we got all locked up out of the pits there. It's, 3x3. And obviously you wreck us all back up for a 2-lap shootout, and it's going to get interesting. I'm just glad that for the most part up front, everybody was able to make it to the start finish line, and really happy for Jonathan. That's a big time first win.
Obviously a huge moment there. Obviously, for you, you've seen the just about everything. You got to see the accidents around you there. Obviously, yeah, you've kind of said like, hey, like I'm not really going for a championship again this season. Kind of just here, kind of grab some wins, grab some results, and have some good racing going on here. There's 5 races to go after this week. Before the chase, 5 races to go. Chicagoland next time we come around next week. How are you feeling going back to Chicagoland after having another phenomenal run? It seems like there's not a lot that can keep this 4 car down.
Well, one thing that can keep the 4 car down is I know I will miss Chicagoland because we'll be celebrating my son's first birthday next weekend, so that will take priority over Chicagoland,
Pretty easy to
unfortunately.
understand that one.
Yes, clearly slam dunk, easy choice. But but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I'm having a great time. When I am able to make it, just able to be in contention and able to race really loose because I've got less at stake. So the only thing I'm trying to do is race hard, have fun, and hopefully get a good finish at the end of the night. And that's what we have today.
You did a phenomenal job. We won't see you at Chicagoland, then we'll have to wait until Indianapolis on June 23rd to see you again in that 4 car. But a phenomenal podium before an extended break. Obviously, you get to celebrate your son's birthday, and then you get to celebrate Father's Day the weekend after that. So you get to have a couple weekends to just kind of enjoy life there. Before I let you go and let you get ready to enjoy all of that comes for you, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats again, another phenomenal podium result for the 14 tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll just say shout out again to Jonathan Hernandez getting his first win there. He ran a really great race and found the right push there at the end, which is what you got to do at these places, and got himself a big time first win. So shout out to him.
Phenomenal result, Tyler Head. P3 tonight here at Daytona. We'll see him again, hopefully, in 3 weeks at Indianapolis. Tyler, enjoy it and enjoy everything that comes with it.
Thank you very much.
That was Tyler Head, P3 tonight. We'll move up the order to Nick Doucette, who finished second in tonight's race. You see in there that Pepsi Million machine, 1 spot shy of winning at the Sponsors Home race. Nick, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I hear ya.
All right, 1 spot shy of getting the Pepsi Million card, a victory lane, but a phenomenal race nonetheless. Very strong result for you here this evening. Walk us through it. It seemed like this was another race where it was kind of all over the place strategy-wise. You had to work your way through the front of the field at one point too.
Yeah, we had a pit stop there about at halfway where everyone took 2 and I took 4. I wanted to have a little bit better stability because the run prior to that I was on 2 tires and running 3 wide in the middle on a bad left rear tire is not fun. I learned that pretty quickly, so I knew I wanted the extra grip, especially towards the end of the race. And I think it helped out. I mean, it's that. Yeah, I would say it helped out, but I really don't know. We're all over the place here with these cars on this setup, but that's what makes it fun. No, I'm happy with second place. I said at the beginning of the race I either wanted to get wrecked out early so I could go to bed, or I wanted a good finishing position. So I'll take P2.
It seems like the results for you have really kind of turned around after you got your first win of the season. Now the results are kind of coming a little bit easier. I mean, kind of circling back to that, does it seem like now that you've got a race win, now that it seems like your position in the chase is getting more and more secure as these races whittle away, that those results are coming easier? And obviously you forecast looking forward, Chicagoland next week, Indianapolis in 3 weeks. How do you feel going into those races to sort of keep this momentum going? We know how good the 24 car is just about every week. We keep seeing you, we keep talking about you, and now it seems like you're closing in on actually finishing the races where you want to be. Is that something that you feel is sort of kind of really kind of stepped to a new gear after that race win? And is it something that you feel like next week at Chicagoland you can continue?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte definitely was a turning point for myself. For the struggles I've had really in the last 2 years. I mean, last season I was there, but I wasn't closing out any races. Well, I mean, I didn't have any wins. But definitely Charlotte was a turning point for myself and gave me that confidence boost that I needed, and ultimately has resulted in a lot better finishes. But looking forward, I just need to keep working on my strategy. I think that's the one thing that I'm still getting wrong, is executing on strategy, and I just got to trust my gut, because it's my gut has told me to pit on certain cautions and I haven't, and I know I should have went in, but if I can just do that, I think I can close out moving forward and get myself in a good position.
Well, you did a phenomenal job here tonight. Obviously, another P2 result with Chicagoland up next, and then the Brickyard after that. Before I let you go and let you get ready for the next races ahead, the final 5 races of the regular season, if does anyone if there's anyone at all you want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats again, another good result. Let's see if the 24 keeps bringing them in bunches.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I mean, I'll give a shout out to obviously you guys for always putting on some great broadcasts. I've been looking back on them, especially now that I've been running good enough to want to watch myself racing. Give a shout out to Winstel again, as always. They put on a great league, great group of people. These plate races are always a lottery, so I'm glad we were able to get some good runs in there towards the end. Shout out to Ryan Kame. I believe he's watching again. Hi, Ryan. And I'll give a shout out to Jonathan. A cool fact between he and I are iRacing customer ID partners. So what I mean by that is he joined iRacing literally right after I did, way back in 2011. So congrats to him. I think that's his first win, so I'm sure he's pumped about it. Once I got off of turn 2 and I was kind of blocked in place, I knew I was committed to helping him out, and I'm glad we were able to get him a win.
Well, obviously, I think we're going to hear from him in just a second and kind of verify all that stuff there. But Nick, you did a fantastic job tonight. P2 here at Daytona. We get to see you again next week at Chicagoland. Hopefully, get to talk to you again a lot more over the next 5 races too.
Thank you.
That was the 24 of Nick Doucette. And as you see there, the replay on your screen, Jonathan Hernandez ends up being the driver that leads everyone home. First career win in the Winstel Cup Series for Jonathan Hernandez. Jonathan, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Get a copy.
Whew, yeah, I got a copy.
Walk us through the feelings. Obviously, this is something that you've been waiting for a little bit, trying to get a race win. Obviously, you saw your teammate Dylan Roberts do that earlier this season, and now you get one of your own at a place that is the World Center for Racing for a reason. Walk us through the emotions and just how you're feeling, because you had a top 10 car all night long.
Yeah, it's, first off, the feeling is, undescribable. Winning in the sim, it's one thing. It's excitement, or, if you're like Tyler, it's repetitive. But, winning here in Winstel feels like a whole different ball game just because of the talent of field that we have. So, just first off, I got my first laps ever led in this series. It's my sophomore year, but with how hard the competition is, it's that was a win on its own when I got that. But to pull off the actual victory is undescribable. I was just pumped up. I'm still pumped up. Probably gonna be pumped up for the rest of the night. And just everything worked out in the end, and big shout out to Nick right there for helping me on the finish.
Obviously, we've had a chance to follow you most of the season to this point, and it seems like there's been flashes of that speed, and then bad luck sort of comes in and sort of strikes that away. And it seemed like with the group that you were a part of, it seemed like you were about one misfire, one bad piece of bad luck away from having it all ripped away again with the laps that you were leading, and just how strong that one car looked. You seemed like you were the bravest of the 3 tonight for the DEI camp. What was it about this race? Because again, you look strong in the 500 earlier this season as well, and then obviously Rex kind of happened and took you out of that one. Is there something about this track in particular that makes this race seem a little bit more comfortable for you? Because this was not a comfortable race for a lot of drivers. You saw a lot of the sliding around. Is that sort of the type of race that you prefer? And if so, sort of what does that speak to as far as, if we have more of these hot races like what we're expecting next week at Chicagoland, if you do prefer the cars that move around a lot more, are you going to be more of a threat going into the summer?
It's realistically, it's a hit or miss. For here Daytona, especially, it could go one side of the coin or you go the other. Of course, like you described in the 500 back earlier this season, luck wasn't on our side. We got caught up in incidences that we shouldn't have, but it's just, I don't know about tonight. Something about tonight, just I was like, it's got to be gloves off to do something. At least for me, it was try to get solid points. Where outside the top 10, I need something to go right our way to get closer, because the cutoff's not too far. Beginning of June here, but it's still it's around the corner, so every point matters. So it was just going for it all in this race, and I like the way the setup was handling. Big shout out to everybody in Winstel for the set. It felt, I mean, at least in my my hands, it felt great. Maybe it just the call I had on pit road. I never took for either stop. It was just always a 2-tire scenario, but uh, it played out luckily in our hands for the handling wise, and then it was just picking the right calls on which lane to go. As we saw that the top line is more dominant here, especially on this surface and with this car, it's unbeatable. Um, but it's somehow we got luck of the draw. We were behind at 30 of Valley, pretty much second half of the run, and we moved up about a lap before the incident with 32, and that's just the big break, And like I said, it's just the luck of the draw that you have each race, and I like the hotter temperatures. That's most of my time here on iRacing has been around the hotter temps, so it was it felt comfortable, at least to me. I think that's why I was able to be up front more than you know what everyone's accustomed to seeing. So maybe Chicagoland's it's one of my favorite tracks just because of the multi grooves and the surface of it, but if temperatures are the same or something, we might have a strong chance to for at least top 10 is the goal here from on out for the points. But I just literally look at the draw for this race, and the luck was on our side.
You did a phenomenal job tonight. Obviously, Chicagoland, Indianapolis, the next 2 races, 5 races to go until the end of the regular season and the start of the chase. You enter the night 16th in points. You gain a pretty penny on the rest of those in front of you to close into that gap on the tops in the top 10. Before we let you go and let you get ready for Chicagoland and for the races coming up, obviously a first-time win for you here in the Winstel Cup Series. Always worth celebrating. If there's anyone you want to shout out in particular and say thank you to, Jonathan, the floor is yours. It's a popular first-time win. Enjoy it, but the floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, of course, on every interview I do, I always thank everyone who puts this together. Of course, everybody from Winstel, from Brennan, Christian, Tyler, Emily, Alex, Dylan. Everybody over there, the admin team, Hayden. I don't know who else I'm missing. I don't want to miss anybody else, but I got to thank them for putting this all together. Of course, thank you to y'all over there in ABN. I love watching the races after. It gives me the nostalgic feeling of watching these Gen 4s, especially with the graphics y'all have up for us. It's phenomenal. Of course, and then I gotta thank everybody personally, my family, of course, who supports me. Uh, you know, and we always joke around, but they know how much of a big deal these Winstel races are, just because of how competitive it is. And I got to give a shout out to the girlfriend. Can't forget her. And of course, just everybody who's helped me along the way. I've been, nowadays I'm not, I'm mainly league racing, but back then I used to race a lot. So a lot of people helped me along that way, and I got, I wouldn't be here without them. You know, my driving talent doesn't just come from out of nowhere. It comes from learning from everybody, learning from mistakes, and I got to give a huge shout out, like I said earlier, to Nick for helping right there on that push. I apologized to him earlier after we finished. I felt like I squeezed him out of 2, but he said it was all good. He said he was committed to pushing me at the end. So and like you said in his interview, we're partners, we're neighbors in my racing IDs, and that was a cool fact. So, but yeah, just thank you to all those. And of course, we'll come back again next Sunday and try to, I don't think the win will be possible at Chicagoland, but never say never. I never thought I was going to win tonight, but here we are.
Well, enjoy the race win. Hopefully get to talk to you again next week at Chicagoland. Jonathan Hernandez, first win in the Winstel Cup Series. Enjoy it.
Thanks.
Sincerely enjoy it, and we hope to see you again in Illinois in 7 days.
Thank you, Carmen.
That was Jonathan Hernandez, the race winner. First time race win, a popular one, just looking at all the reactions throughout the Winstel community here at Daytona tonight. An absolutely outstanding turn of form. We'll go over the full results of this race. It was absolutely outstanding from start to finish, and again, you can't really go wrong with anything that you saw tonight. Obviously, a little bit of everything from the racing here in Daytona. Jonathan Hernandez, the race winner, ahead of Nick Doucette, Tyler Head, rounding out the podium. Brendan McGee missing out on a podium by fractions of a second. Evan Locke, a good top 5 result for him as well. Kyle Benson, Jose Solis Jr., Emily Howell, Christian Budd, and Sean Peleg round out your top 10 here in Daytona. Moving on further down the order, you have Anthony Krobach just missing out on the top 10. Mo Perry, a good recovery drive for car 12, finishing P12 here at Daytona ahead of Philip Snipes, one of his best results this season in the 19 car, finishing 13th ahead of Matt Sisler. Teammates there 13th and 14th. Alex Bates, Christina Ryan was finishing 16th after dropping to 22nd after being spun on that last caution in the race, recovering decently, but still not where she wanted to be, seeing as how a top 10 or a top 5 could have been on the cards for the 00 machine, the Aaron's dream machine. That dream of getting into the chase begins to get a little bit harder as we look at Chicagoland in 7 days' time. Corey Cook, Tyler Murray, Nathan Paliwota, and Steve Brown round out your top 20. As we browse further on down the order here, you have the 37 of Brandon McKissick in 21st. Dylan Roberts ended up down in 22nd, being involved in a crash on the final lap. Ken Huff, 23rd. Chris Champeau, 24th. Larry Pace, 25th, ahead of Ali Osman. Oz Kanar in 27th in the 04. Corey Steinhauser, 30, and the 34 is 28th. Matt Taylor is in 29th, and Hayden Repas, the 89. This race mercifully comes to an end with the 89 in the 30th position. A lot of retirements in this race, though. The further on down you go, Alex Chilcutt, Craig Lautenschlager, the last drivers to make the finish here in Daytona. Olivia Hayward leads those that DNF'd ahead of Parker Alexander. Andy Reeves, the debutant, not a good result for him as he took over the 97 from Michael O'Brien. Leandro Morera and Gabriel Mauricio rounds out the field of 37 cars here at Daytona. That's going to do it from us here at Daytona International Speedway. It's been a wild ride here at Daytona. Jonathan Hernandez, a popular first-time winner, brings the #1 home for DEI at the World Center of Racing. Next week, we'll be live with the Winstel Cup Series once again from Chicagoland Speedway. We hope you join us then. We hope you join us tomorrow night. The HTL Cup Series heads to the Brickyard. The HTL 400 at Indianapolis tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on ABN1, and the HTL Truck Series from Homestead, Miami on ABN1 as well, 8 p.m. Tuesday. The next 2 races coming up here on ABN's programming. We hope you join us for those. We hope you join us next Sunday as well. On behalf of everyone here for Winstel, on behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, we appreciate you being with us here so often this year. Happy Pride Month. Happy holiday for everyone here as we enter the summer. We'll see you tomorrow night at Indianapolis. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. So long, everybody.